We've come to the start of the final month in the year 2023. It's December the 1st, a Friday. Thank God it's a Friday, everyone. Welcome to Frontier Opening Bell as we kick off the new month with this weekend. The Nigerian stock market finished off the final trading day of November with 11 basis points in the green territory. The BRVM took a bit of a little haircut, 11 basis points from 213 earlier in the week to 212.9. That's on the composite. The Egyptian market finished off Thursday weaker by 10 basis points. The Nairobi stock market still in a profit booking mood, 91.93, down by roughly 0.5%. The GSE, however, went up around 0.4% in line with the rest of the developed and emerging markets that we saw on Thursday. Quite a whole lot to digest in the world of energy. COP28 and OPEC plus ministerial meeting, bit of contentious, as it were, in terms of those decisions that are yet to be reached, and the decisions reached about 2.18 million barrels per day is what will go into 2024 first quarter, led by the rollover from Saudi Arabia and Russia. Let's touch on with East Africa and get on with the regional markets and information across the economies, investment, finance, and markets that we got for you, with Ethiopia securing $1.5 billion in temporary debt relief from the Paris Club. It's good news for the most populous economy in the Horn of Africa, looking for that relief. That helps Ethiopia move its repayments to the Paris Club of Creditors a little bit forward. It's not a debt forgiveness. It's just a restructuring things a little bit to give the Prime Minister Abiy a little bit of a breathing space moving into the new year 2024. It's also going to help the administration in Addis Ababa to focus a little bit more on those reforms that's been carried out, which includes the setting up of a securities exchange early in the new year 2024. But some good news to close 2023 for Ethiopia. Kenya is signs an MOU with a UK Green Food Organized Group that the target is to cut Kenya's food imports by $200 million every year. That's a whole lot of money on the table that the administration in Nairobi could put in the pocket of the treasury to support the economy without taxing the people out of their daily lives. In the meantime, the treasury is relaxing listing conditions for companies in Kenya to list on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, in particular, initial public offering. Part of the conversations that took place at last week's ASEA conference, which Frontier Africa Reports was boots on the ground covering end-to-end, using the private markets and other sources to support the Nairobi securities markets, which have been flagging since the start of the year. Now, President Ruto looks like he's going to make good on his promise, at least to cut off 35 state-owned enterprises out of the government side and put them on the marketplace. And congratulations to the head of the new Diageo's newly created South, West and Central Africa, and that's John Musunga. He's a billionaire businessman out of Kenya. Let's look into West Africa, by the way, with the announcement coming through from Norway's Equinor selling its 20% stake in Agbami oil fields, part of Chevron's oil operations in Nigeria. The amount of sale was not disclosed, but this is a sell down of Equinor's operations in the Nigerian oil industry, by the way. FSDH Merchant Bank have signed a $20 million trade finance deal with the EFDB Group. The announcement came through yesterday from the Nigerian office of the African Development Bank headquartered in Cote d'Ivoire. OPEC Plus, that's the biggest news. And you already have it. OPEC agreed to more than 1 million barrels per day extra on top of what Russia and Saudi Arabia, 1.3 million barrels, bringing to the table. The whole issue around Nigeria, Angola, and Congo will be handled later by independent consultants. That's according to late news coming out of OPEC Plus yesterday through their virtual meeting. And of course, you've got Brazil joining OPEC Plus in the new year, January 2024. In the meantime, Gabon's oil union says they're going on strike effective this month. Not so good news, by the way. But let's move on to Southern Africa. And folks are upset with the Minister of Finance and Administration of President Emmerson Mnangagwa in Zimbabwe concerning the latest budget, fiscal expenditure for 2024, which was announced yesterday, late before the parliament, by the finance minister, also in charge of the economy, Ntube. If you go on the social media, what you see Zimbabwe is complaining about is that new tax that will be on buildings owned by Zimbabweans. There are a whole lot of concerns on how this will be evaluated. The valuation method will be for those who are paying rent to landlords and all that, how homeowners, how will those amounts be reconciled and all that. There's a whole lot of angst right now about how things are falling on the social and economic front in Zimbabwe and how the government is trying to claw its way out of that. In the meantime, you headline South Africa's producer price inflation, which is the PPI, quickened to 5.8% in October. That's about 41.23 billion. The SPAR is reporting annual profits number of 1.6 billion rand. No thanks to that bungling of the SAP rollout program, which SPAR uses in South Africa. That's costing the food and retail chain company quite a hefty haircut for its annual finance. And that's the story there. Zambia's inflation, a 20-month high. There are also some concerns in Zambia whether things are going as well as planned 2 years into President Ichilema's, the man popularly known as Double H in Zambia. The local currency is hitting a record low. That's the Kwanza. And the Bank of Mozambique left its interest rate unchanged at 17.25%. So let's get on to North Africa. Egypt's handed over from COP27 last year to COP28 new president for this year, which is in the UAE in Dubai, to be specific, where the event is going on until the 12th of December of this month. Of course, the opening formalities held today had a lot of stones thrown at OPEC Plus for producing fossil fuel. There's a whole lot tongue lashing from the head of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. This is a UN climate summit, by the way. Of course, yesterday we got some good news from Dubai with about $450 million pumped into that new fund, which will be warehoused at the World Bank, but managed by an independent secretariat. We'll get a whole lot more about the Lost and Damaged Fund in the days ahead. Algeria will be cutting its January oil output by extra 51,000 barrels per day. That's part of the decisions yesterday reached the online OPEC Plus ministerial meeting. Egypt is planning 1 billion cubic feet of LNG exports daily in January. Egypt is moving very strongly into clean energy, and that fetched the country the highest level of FDI for 2022 across Africa. $107 billion was what Egypt brought in foreign investments last year, beating its closest rival, South Africa, to about $27 billion. Morocco came third, and Nigeria in the fourth position with $2.1 billion, and Kenya just about $1.8 billion in ranking, according to the EY's attractiveness report, which came out a few days ago. Suez Canal is looking at the revenue hitting $854 million in the month of November, just finished yesterday. And Turkey-based textile KCG company is looking to invest about $500 million in Egypt. I just talked about the inflow of foreign direct investment into President El-Sisi's country, that's Egypt. That's average of $10 billion every month for 2022. And Société Métallurgique du Métier of Morocco says its turnover came in higher by 41% in the first 9 months of this year, January to September reporting period. Let's leave the market there for today. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. The first weekend in December. We'll get back together on Monday and continue from here on Frontier Opening Bell. I am Boston Amofai. I'll see you soon.